right? So this is now getting away from pure response and to starting to get a bit of an edge on the attacks, right? And that's where the research piece that Shubs was alluding to came in. And what we've seen in terms of other trends, right? So forgetting the IT trends, now thinking about the attack trends and the threats, we've seen that threat actors are starting to weaponize security vulnerabilities faster. So as a patch is released, as a POC is released, they're really turning that, and mass exploitation starts almost immediately from the point of disclosure there. And so and even further than that, we've noted in terms of some of the research that we've been doing into ransomware groups on the dark web, we're even noting that ransomware groups are now beginning to do their own zero-day research and identify novel zero days, which is something that traditionally we haven't seen a lot of that, because most of the time the view has been that these groups that do mass exploitation are focused on, broadly spraying everything, very opportunistic, trying to get as much as they can, and so they're not necessarily sophisticated from a security research perspective and from a threat actor perspective. So they're taking the reactive piece that comes out, and then they're weaponizing it faster. But we're now noticing some ransomware groups that are pushing that boundary and identifying zero days in the same sort of software that we're looking for these zero days with. So when it comes to the research that we do and how we bring that into the platform, the proactive piece is that we will disclose it to the vendor. So they're always the first to know. But then immediately after that, we put a check in our platform with a custom developed mitigation. We always want to have, again, to that management piece, we always want to have a fix. We always want to have an action that customers can do to mitigate or remediate the issue. And so with that, we're now on that leading edge as well. Like, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay ahead of these trends and ahead of these attackers. And the security research that we do from the exposure monitoring perspective is incredibly important to that. But Shubs can talk a little bit more about how we conduct that. And
well, this is actually exactly what I wanted to add to. The whole reason why we scan everything on an hourly basis, the whole reason that we have a cutting edge pioneering security research team is specifically to beat those ransomware groups, and is specifically to make the time to mitigation as little as possible in order for you to be protected from these ransomware groups. And just to add some specific examples to what Michael was talking about in terms of these sophisticated ransomware groups now using zero days that, again, in my opinion, are sophisticated in nature. One example, the most obvious example, is the COP ransomware group. They first started off with the Move It transfer software, and then recently they've hacked the software called Clear as well. And then when we look at these campaigns that these ransomware groups are running, they're really, really well-designed campaigns. They're designed to take as much data as possible from your systems as quickly as possible in order to ransom you. And the whole premise of what we do at AssetNote, which is a cutting-edge security research team looking at these same products and putting these checks in and getting them scanned within an hourly basis, is to make sure that you're in a position to protect your assets from these vulnerabilities before they're exploited by a malicious actor like a ransomware group. So yeah, I just wanted to add to what Michael was saying with some specific examples.
Well, and to give another example of that, recently one of the vulnerabilities that we found was in ServiceNow, a pre-authenticated SSRF inside, or RCE, right, inside ServiceNow, and we had sent that to the vendor, and then we included in our platform with a custom developed mitigation. One of our large customers came back as proud as possible because they set a brand new record for fixing this, which was 21 minutes from when they got the notification in AssetNote. So like, that's how people are really trying to hone how quickly they're able to respond and identify these exposures, and more specifically mitigate these exposures.